Howdy, 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 everybody. Theresa here. It is November 3rd, 2015, Tuesday afternoon. It's about 3:15 in the afternoon. I'm feeling kind of out of sorts today. I'll get more into that in a little bit. You can tell I'm very puffy today. I've got a really bad migraine, and my sinuses are just. We got a storm. It's you know how you can tell when we've got a storm that's blowing in. The wind is really blowing here today in Wyoming. It's really gusting, and we've got some kind of a storm coming in. So the barometric change causes me to have swelling and and so then I don't get feeling as perky and normal. I didn't even put any makeup on today. I did put my contacts in. Let's see what the weather is while we're talking about it for a moment. It's so unusually warm here. I know it is everywhere. It is 68 degrees right now. The high is 69 and the low is 35. And then tomorrow the high is supposed to be 46. Yeah. And we've got this cold front coming in. So, excuse me. So, last night we had to run into town, pay our utility bills. And then, we stopped and got, takeout Chinese. There's a Chinese place here called Full House. Well, not here, but in another town, not too far. We have to go into town anyway to pay bills and stuff. And so coming back home, we stopped and got that because real inexpensive. It's less than $25 and we get 3 meals off of it. So did that. In fact, I had the leftovers today for lunch. I think it's a healthier alternative for eating out than because it's not it's not fried food or anything. It's just like cashew chicken, or my husband usually gets the beef with snow peas, or no, the beef with vegetables, and then just plain white rice. But anyway, so we did that, came home, and then we had to pay a few other bills online, and then he made his, he had a marked down pork roast he had bought, and he ground that up because he makes his own sausage, and which has absolutely no fat in it. In fact, when he's frying it up, he has to add a little bit of oil to the pan because there's no fat in it. So he made a couple different types of sausage. I was looming while he did that. You can always tell too when a storm's coming in. If you really learn to listen to your body. My hand and my arthritis really hurts today. That's why my back hurts a little bit today. It's the storm coming in, because basically I have quite a bit of arthritis in my hands. That's one of the reasons I loom instead of crochet. Right in this thumb area especially. And my knees are kind of barking today in the back. So I went to bed fairly early. I'm trying to go to bed earlier. And then this morning I kind of got up and checked some accounts and said hi to a few people on Facebook. And I tend not to be on Facebook very much. I don't know. I tend to just enjoy the videos more. Let's see, and I cleaned house, got dressed, cleaned house, all that kind of stuff. And then I laid down for a little bit. Like I said, just not feeling real perky. Woke up with animals all around me, but I enjoyed that. So, did that. And, yesterday I did go in and work in the studio, and I really enjoyed that. It was funny. I have been working on this one painting for a couple of months. It's a painting from my daughter, my youngest daughter, and I was just kind of stumped on it. Really wasn't feeling it, couldn't really get into it, and I went in there and it just started coming alive. And I think it turned out pretty cool. And then I was waiting for my husband to come home last night, and I had put an eye in the middle of this painting. It's an abstract painting. She's a writer and an author, published author, and she writes, big surprise here, horror fiction books. And then I was kind of sitting there waiting for my husband and to get home and stuff, because we were going to be running into town. And I did this little doodle, and this is what I'm going to do on that eye, is I'm making more of a cat's eye in a way. And then you see that instead of the eyelashes, it'll be trees, and then it's going to have birds and such. And like I said, this is just a real rough sketch, quick doodle. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to do on that. And see, I've got trees I'll have to show you guys sometime, but I've got trees and stuff all coming out of it, because, trees are my thing. And then, it's kind of like, the trees come to life out of the story and stuff. Anyway, I'll show you. This is a preliminary of the painting, and so far what I have. Well, you can't see at the bottom there is a cauldron and stuff, and I'm not done with the rocks. But you see a book there in this lower left corner, and then you see some of the white tree. And then I'm starting to form some smoke and such. But anyway, that's what is an acrylic painting. That's what I'm working on. I'll probably go in there here in a little bit and work on it some. I found what I really would love to have for Christmas, but I don't think we can afford it, is a knitting machine. Because like I said, I could be a lot more productive getting some things done if, but the arthritis sometimes halts me. But it was called an Addy king size knitting machine. But I looked them up, and they're expensive. Yeah, king size express knitting machine, an Addy. They're like $150. There's no way we can afford that even for a Christmas present for me, So then I found one that looked really nice too, called the Ultimate Sweater Machine. And newer, those are about $75. But I found a couple that are used that I may look into maybe seeing if I can afford. I don't know. We're being really cautious this month because, we didn't make a house payment last month, so we definitely have to make one this month. We're trying to make up the one we missed, and what if we don't get a paycheck again? So we're living off of just his retirement, which, and what I make, and we're doing okay. Things are tight, but they're tight for everybody, and we're doing okay. So I'm just being kind of careful because I can only crank out so much at a time, and that's why I was thinking if I had the knitting machine, I would be able to do different patterns and stuff on Afghans and stuff, not have to charge as much, because hand doing them takes so long. But we'll see. I mean, part of it I'll still always be doing some of it by hand, which I'd want to anyway, but, you know. Yeah, I'd love to get that one, though. The ultimate sweater machine. That would be nice. They have a few of them on eBay that are not too much. You know, they're used, but they're not too much. And then they have an extension kit, which is 30 more pegs, which then makes it up to be a full-size Afghan size. So, you know. We'll see. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. So yeah, I'm just gonna be working on that Afghan. I'm over halfway done with it now, or about halfway done. In fact, I am halfway done with it right now. Yeah. And I don't know if I have any more orders coming in. Well, so far I don't. I had some people thinking about stuff. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, you know, I see so many people that become so hyper. Don't take it from this old woman here. And it's just a word of advice from this grandma to all you younger women, or anybody. Don't become so hyper-focused on something in your life that you don't have time for anything else. You have to remember to become balanced. Don't become so hyper-focused on your work that you have no time for your home life. Don't become so hyper-focused on your children that you have no time for your spouse. Or hyper-focused on a goal that you're trying to meet, like losing weight, that you have no time for your family. You have no time to care about anybody else. It can't be all about you all the time, and it can't be about something you're working on all the time. Because you got to have a balance in life. Because think about it this way. What happens when that career ends? What happens when those children grow? What happens when you achieve whatever it is you're working on achieving? Then you're left empty. Then you're left with what now? You've got to have, and trust me, I've been down this road. You've got to have the balance. I've had to, and my husband always says, you know, he's so thankful for me, because if he becomes too hyper-focused on work, I make him, when he's home, so he doesn't sit there and you know, keep thinking about something that went wrong that day, go and do something else that's totally, like last night, that's why I pushed him, because he had a bad day at work, pushed him into going out and making some sausage, because he enjoys cooking and just to get his mind off of everything. You know, don't forget to stop and take a big breath of air and look around you and think about everything else going on with everybody around you. You know, I especially hate to see it when people keep posting pictures of what maybe they used to look like. Yes, be proud of your achievement. But don't act like you were nothing before. Because, you know, you were. You've always been something to the people that really loved you. You know. And, you know, to me, if you fall into the thing of you know, just being so hyper-focused on yourself and on what you're achieving, like I said, you're not being well-rounded. It's just taking an addiction and moving it into another addiction. You know, it's kind of like somebody that you knew in high school that's still stuck in their glory days and reliving that. You know, I mean, it's because they never evolved past that. You know, they just stayed right there and never evolved. Or somebody that all they do is talk about their work. You know, maybe you ladies think that your husbands, that's all they think about is their jobs. You know, and, you know, well, it's part of our responsibility as their wives to get them, you know, try to, because, you know, nobody can control anybody else. Try to get them involved in other things. You know, hey, take the focus off. I always tell my husband, okay, you're home now. You're not at work. Stop sitting and thinking about it. You know, let's go do something else you enjoy doing. Because, you know, just don't make the mistake of becoming so obsessed with a goal you're trying to achieve that you lose sight of who you are everywhere else, who the well-rounded person you need to be. You know, it's kind of like everybody should be worried about diet and exercise. You should be concerned about it, but it shouldn't be our main focal point. Everybody should be worried about, you know, their health, but that shouldn't be all that you have, or your work. You know, I have to really watch what I do in that regard, because I am the type, because I have trained myself with the Asperger's and the ADHD to really focus on something if I'm working on it. You know, so, or else I'm just kind of like, and, but then sometimes I'll get so short-sighted, I call it, and so hyper-focused on that I'll forget everything else. My husband will tell you, if I'm really focused on something, I won't even hear you. And, you know, he knows me, you know, well enough to say, hey, you know, I'm talking to you, or, you know, he doesn't do it mean, or he's just like, hey, honey, you know. And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, because, you know, I've trained myself. But, you know, I'm the type where I can get so hyper-focused on, years ago when I lost all the weight, I got so hyper-focused on the diet and the exercise that my family felt like they were shut out, and that's all I cared about. You know, and yeah, that's all I did care about for a while. I mean, you know, and even myself, I missed part of the old me too, because please, I guess my whole message is just don't act like you were never anything. You know, you've always been something. You've always been this beautiful person on the inside too. You know, not just, you know, don't fall into the thing of, oh, look at how I look now, you know, and act like you were shit before. Well, obviously, everybody that loves you around you never thought you were shit. You know. And that sends a clear message to the rest of us that you know, we're struggling and stuff, that maybe we're just shit if we haven't dropped untold amount of weight. You know, everybody has their different journey, and we all have to be well-rounded. We all need to, yes, we all need to exercise every day. We all need to eat correctly every day, or as well as possible. You know, we all need to support each other no matter the journey, but be well-rounded. You cannot focus just totally on one area of your life. You've got to have it well-rounded. It's kind of like, look at it, it's kind of a curriculum in school. They don't just focus on math skills. They just don't focus on history or science. You know, they try to, you know, have a well-balanced curriculum where you have a little bit of everything, and you even have some exercise thrown in, and some music, and some art, etc. Because, you know, it makes you a well-rounded person. Anyway, like I said, just take that for what it is. Take it for this old grandma just trying to pass on a little bit of a life lesson, you know, to you younger women. Because, you know, sadly I see a very big, the divorce rate seems to be getting higher and higher and higher. And sometimes it can't be helped, but sometimes it's because you lose sight of each other, you know. And I've been meaning to talk about this, as this is another one of my life wisdom things, okay? I'm going to tell you how it is, or how I see it, okay? Any relationship is like a plant, okay? If you don't feed and you don't water, if you don't feed and water your plant, it will die. If you don't take care of it properly, it will die. Any relationship is that way, whether it's a friendship relationship, a spouse, whatever the gender. If it's not fed and watered and properly taken care of, it dies. So, and it takes both people in any relationship to keep feeding and watering and taking proper care. Because it can't just be one person doing it all. It's got to be both. Sure, there's times when, my husband's had to, do more because I've been sick. There's times I've had to do more because he's been sick. That's going to happen. We've been married 27 years. Pretty soon we will have been together for 28. But you both have got to feed and water and keep working on the relationship. It takes two. And it can't be just about one person. It's got to be about both of you. My husband and I make sure every night we sit down together and I ask him how his day was, and he asks me how my day was. Even though I'm a housewife, and I do my, I sell a little bit on eBay and I sell on Etsy, making scarves and shawls and that kind of stuff. And we talk to each other. We sit and we talk about how each other is doing. And we sit and we really listen. Eye-to-eye contact. Cell phones are down. TV is muted. You need that. And it can't just be about one person or the other. And even if you have a friend that's that way, okay, sure, they may be going through something right then and there, which maybe needs a little more attention. But you still need to be heard. You still need to have them stop and ask you how your day was, and that exchange. Or else you feel like going, I'm always helping this person. I'm always listening to how they are and how things are going in their life, but they're never asking me about mine. So, it's a two-way street. You gotta feed and water and nurture. You gotta, just like a plant, and it's a lot of work keeping a marriage going for this many years, but it's very well worth it. But you have to work at it continually. You can't just, ignore your spouse and think, well, they love me, they'll just be there. Well, okay, sure, you may be going through something, recovering from an operation, or maybe, grieving a death, or getting used to a major life change, like a child leaving home, or, maybe you have a special needs child, and stuff, but you really got to work together all the time. And sometimes you have to tell your spouse or your friend to pull their head out of their ass, and sometimes they're not going to like what you have to say. They're not. I have a tendency with people, and I'm sure I've made people mad on my videos because I have a tendency to speak my mind. Now, I do hold back. You guys might not think I do, but I do hold back, and yes, my hair is all wackadoodle today. But I don't sugarcoat stuff. This is just how I am. If I'm mad at you, I'll tell you I'm mad at you. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not fake and phony that way. But yeah, I have a tendency to tell people how it is, and I think, in any relationship, sometimes you're going to have to tell the other person, hey, you need to pull your head out of your ass some here. But you got to support each other even if you don't agree with what they're doing. You got to have some, unless it's just absolutely against your core beliefs, but you know, it is their decision on what they're doing in their life and etc. But you know, don't forget to ask your friend. You know, they may be on a completely different journey than you're on. That doesn't mean you guys can't be friends. But don't forget to ask them, hey, how you doing? What's going on in your life? You know, now that we talked about what I'm doing and what I'm trying to achieve, what are you doing? What are you trying to achieve? You know, I love that. I love that about hearing about somebody, you know, about their life and stuff and what's going on and everything. So, you know. Anyway, that's all I got going on. You know, it's just all that kind of good stuff. I am going to do some looming here real quick, because I just want to. And then I'm going to go in and work on that painting for a while. Or some more paint markers. I really like them. I'll talk about that when I come in. And tomorrow I'm probably going to do a video on my other channel on how to refill those wallflowers. An easier way than what I've seen on here. But anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Remember that I love you. And remember that, you know, just because maybe you don't like something a person has to say doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's just everybody has their own beliefs. And I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.